everyone, welcome back to the Armorol Draws channel. Now this video is really just something to basically give some news and on what's going on and how the comic is gonna go towards and the future of it. And as well as the series in general. Now, as you might see, the comic chapters that I ended up uploading looked nothing like the ones that I showed before as a teaser or whatever. Also, if you're wondering, I'm drawing, I'm just using this one picture whenever I'm talking without showing something. Because I simply don't have time to draw another picture if I can just use one that I already have made. But anyway, so this video basically covers why that old comic is no longer seen, and also explaining some different things about the comic book that will show up in the future and a little bit of lore. Now it's also October, which is pretty cool, and I've been so busy to the point where I have to upload my first chapter of the normal series on October. Now the reason being is that I wasn't really taking the drawing seriously. I was taking more of the writing part, such as the script, the lore, and future sort of things for the comic. And then I realized that it was September, and I realized, hey, I have to start moving on. I can't just keep on doing the lore. So I started getting to work. I made a whole entire chapter. I also changed the pixel art at the start because it was taking way too long, just me clicking endlessly. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna scrap this. I scrapped everything that was already made for the pixel art and took the pixel art that I already made. I just used a random drawing software and just basically traced over the pixel art. And since I had only done 3 pages or 2, not including the cover but including the chapter cover, since the other ones crashed in the middle of me drawing. So basically I had to just try to remember how they looked like and redraw them. I don't know if I showed it in my video before. I generally don't remember how many pages I showed. But there was a lore page, and it was only one, and it was a pretty short one. And so I decided to make it a fully different story, although if you did look at the other one, which I will show in this video by the way, it has parts of the lore that are kind of the same and parts of the lore that are a little bit new. I'll go ahead and quickly show the comic, at least the old version of the comic. Now for some reason a few of the pages just won't upload onto the thing, but it is what it is. Except only 3 of the pages uploaded, the other few didn't for some reason, so if I manage to upload them in the future, I guess, I'll do it. So, technically this is page 2. Basically, it starts pretty different than the first one. It's Armorol training! Something else that you can see is that the graphics have definitely improved. Well, not graphics, but the backgrounds and stuff like that have improved in the new one. Basically, this page just talks about how the gems were really special and powerful, how each character had a special gem that was, basically belonged to them, and then the gems shattered and left nothing. And it says that the characters lost most of their memories, which is something that's new, or different from the new version, but it still is the correct lore, by the way. And also, as you can see, in my new version, there's no text on the thing. It's because there's more picture room, because, having the text bubbles there can, really take out, the chunk of the picture. On to the 4th page, which is the last one that we'll upload. So, there's lots of problems with this page, and how the first, comic was going in general. So, Armorol grows like eyes on a tongue. Now, in older versions of Armorol did have eyes, but now he doesn't because it just looks very weird and just doesn't look good. The background also isn't the greatest. There's no clouds, the grass is kind of bland, and it's just a blue sky with a building. Basically, this page is Armorol going to his lair. So it used to be a bunker, but now it's changed to just a lair in the middle of the forest. This one was just in the middle of nowhere where he would have to push the tree and go into it. Now, there's a few, huge issues with the pages and the comic in general. Now, I'm taking things from older comic book series that I used to have and implementing them to this new one. But the thing is that most of the characters won't have faces, or at least non-fully visual faces. You'll only see eyes most of the time, or just no face whatsoever and just some kind of armor. And he just grows a tongue and eyes. Now, something that I decided to change is that I wasn't going to be adding goofy expressions, because it doesn't fit the new art style. So I went back to drawing board and redesigned Armorol again. Now he's had lots of redesigns, but this was the last time that I would go back to drawing board. I wanted him to have sort of different colored skin, not just purely white skin. So I gave him a very light tan of green. And I also had to fix how uneven his arms were. I accidentally said thick. Because basically every single page's proportions would change. The final design of Armorol decided to be a more realistic version. Now his design is going to be way more improved in the second book, but in the first book it's still kind of meh. And I really had to go with it because I couldn't fix it. Basically the main issues are with the old one: unevenness, incorrect skin color, expressions, and the issue with the new one It's definitely more even, but something that I thought that would be cool while making the character is that he would have like a triangular body. But it turned out very bad because it would make him quite uneven. Now here we are. This is going to be a page for the second book. At least the original version of the second book. Also, if you're wondering why I'm a bit more louder now, it's because yesterday I was recording during the nighttime, and I had to be pretty quiet. Basically, the second chapter, or second book, I mean, was going to be about Armorol and Meki finding out their true skills and powers. That ended up being changed because it's going to be kind of boring. So I made it where now in the new one, he's going to be figuring out his powers as he goes and containing more assets. I'll let you have a quick look at this page. And also, of course, lots of design changes have been made. Now let me move on to like the main scrapped things. Now there's a song that's recently been scrapped because it was going to go towards the first book. And it was supposed to be exclusive to the original book. Now it's been scrapped and it's no longer going to be used, but you can still see the cover right here. Now moving on to a scrapped version of Armorol. This is going to be called the meta version. Basically, it's a version of Armorol that has 3 different versions in one. Not exactly, but it's a 3-in-1 basically. He was going to have a mixed variation of limb colors and stuff like that, and also like shapes. He would have normal wood powers, but instead of them being like the brown oak wood, it would have been a different type of wood. I don't know what this one's called, but it's like the one that kind of looks like a cow. The white with like black spots. And he would also have different powers from his original ones, such as marble powers. He could grow marble rocks and stuff like that, and blast marble bits into his opponents. Opponents. We're not trying to be French here. He was also going to have shadow powers, but I didn't really get to those before he was scrapped. On to Gold Armorol. Now this one is not scrapped. Only this version of the design is. I'm pretty sure you can see reason number 1. I'll give you a hint. Look at his hand. Yeah, you see it now, don't you? Basically, this Armorol was going to be a golden version of Armorol. He was originally going to be a version, but since I've changed the way that the Armorol series is going to go, there's going to be battle damage. It's not going to be, like some cartoon ones where it to last for a little bit, and then sometimes it goes away and then comes back in the next episode as normal. This one is going to have lasting battle damage. Whenever you see blood, which there will be some blood. Of course, I won't be realistic because I'm not good at drawing, but that's going to be temporary. But battle damage such as scuffs and scratches won't. They will stay until the armor needs to be changed, which is what will happen with the next version of Armorol. But this now is not going to be a version. It will technically be a version, but now it's been changed. It's still in progress, but it's definitely going to be changed its design. The only thing will be closely the same will be the way that the arms are working and stuff, where one arm is probably going to be fully gold. His head will also probably stay fully the same. I might just have some color changes there, but otherwise that'll be it. Armorol is also going to have a meme version, but then I was going to be making it a real version of him. Basically, he would be able to turn into a car and stuff like that. But I figured that wouldn't have worked for the reason of the lore. And because it's genuinely just goofy. I mean, look at this, bro. Imagine seeing this in the highway. But yeah, that was scrapped. Now, this was seen in one of my videos. But not the arms and legs and stuff. I only had, the drawing back then when you saw it. It was at the end of a series that I was making that wasn't, that didn't have anything to do with anything, really. But the drawing wasn't finished back then. Now it's finished. But it was also scrapped, so it didn't really turn out very well. This is basically going to be an ice version of Armorol. But I figured I didn't really want that. I was going to keep him towards other elements, since I don't plan on adding anything that's ice related to the Armor universe. By universe, I mean his part of the world that he lives in, which is more nature-y, jungle-y, more more based on the nature and stuff, not where it would be very hot, I mean very cold, not very hot. Now let's talk about armor upgrades. In the original version, Armorol's armor would change and upgrade. But that was scrapped, and now it's going to be fully changing the armor instead of upgrading it slowly. Now, if you look at his fingers, he would have a type of, extra, finger protection or something along those lines. Easier way to explain it, he would have harder fingertips, which would help him grow the wood faster that comes out of his hands. Basically, a way to upgrade his powers. Then he would also get bigger boots. That would go over his original ones, but would look the exact same. Now, back in my first video, it was when armor was still, going through a bit of a change. And I thought that this design was the coolest back then, so I decided to use it for the video. Now this Armorol has a type of eyes expression, which has also been taken away as I said earlier in the video. But the main thing we're focusing on is his boots. He was going to have a different type of boot back then. But now it's been changed where it's just going to have plain boots. At least for his first version. Different versions will probably have more details. Now something else is his sword. This is going to be the original design for his sword. But I figured I didn't really like this type of shade that his wood had. So it's been changed to a darker shade that looks more like a different type of wood. Also had green parts and stuff like that, which I thought were pretty cool, but I decided to take them away for the first version. And instead make things more simpler, because his original version wouldn't grow leaves and stuff from his hands. So it'd be kind of weird having the green particles and stuff like that. So it's been changed to just a basic, simple wooden sword. Alright, now let's talk about something that's pretty big. So this is the bigger section of the video. Something that you will be seeing soon is a POV of Armorol. Basically, some of the pages will be what he sees. For example, you see him hitting an enemy, or him walking, or something along those lines. This will also be seen for the pumpkin guy as well, that you see on my icon currently on YouTube, and also the guy that was on the cover of the book, that one. Although you won't see the POV of the other guy, the Ghost, that's his name, Ghost, but you will see normal Armorol. Let's move on to Easter eggs now. Now, on Armorol's wall, these posters will always change to something different. The Fall Guy is my old Fall Guys avatar. And then you see a POV leak or teaser or whatever. That's what I talked about now in this video. And then a HD horror. That's a teaser for an upcoming character. Well, was going to be an upcoming character, but now probably won't anymore, simply because of changes and stuff like that. Now we're moving back to the basics again from the start of the video. So this is going to be something they would see with Armorol. The reason why I'm showing this towards the end of the video is because I might be keeping this sort of design for the legs and stuff because it looks pretty cool. So one of his armor changes, you might see this. As you can see, he has nice shoes, some nice socks, like knee pads, and like a little pocket thing. And that background is also very blurry, as we can see. Now I'm just showing this one for fun. This one was drawn by my enemy. So originally in the Armorol series, that character was going to be like a enemy sort of character towards Armorol. For example, a big boss. But I've changed this so it's a different one. It's a way cooler one because this one is way too boring. And also because it kind of looks like a ripoff of one of my maid characters that will be seen later on. So, yeah. And can we talk about how my characters has been absolutely ruined? Now let's move on to Armorol's first villain. His name hasn't been said yet, but his name is Wire Bucket. Basically, he's a bucket. His body is like wires. And he lives in a junkyard. Now, in the second book, he's going to have a second friend. Not exactly a second friend, but somebody that also comes from the same junkyard as him. So that's going to be pretty cool. I already have his design sort of in mind. He's going to be like an egg sort of character. He's going to have like sort of like an egg shape. Now let's move on to some of the leaks of the video, since I'm going to be including a few of these. So this right here is a song that's going to be coming up soon. Because I uploaded a song before that had Wire Bucket in it, but this one's going to be called Junkyard. And personally, it's a bop. It's a pretty good one. But this is the cover for it. The song's probably going to be coming out tomorrow, after tomorrow. Maybe even today, if I manage to finish the last part of the song in time. Because, this has been taking me very long for that song. And it's going to be pretty important to the second chapter of the first book. Talking about second chapters, as everybody knows, let's watch the Halloween special. It's very, very, very clearly been left on the cliffhanger. It just ended with Armorol having a flashback from Wire Bucket and then the guy leaving, Ghost. By guy, I mean Ghost. And that was that. So this is going to be the second chapter to round and wrap everything off. This chapter is going to have a lot of lore and Armorol's transformation. Now, the Halloween special is supposed to take place after the first book. That's why Armorol's armor is all battle damage and stuff. But this one's going to be a pretty cool comic. It's coming out on the day of Halloween. If not, it's going to be coming out the day after Halloween or the day before Halloween. It's 3/4 done. The drawings are half done. But the script is fully done. So, judging by how it's going, it should be coming out on Halloween day, hopefully. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. And I'll be seeing you next time.